first, the wonderful bronze medal. There is a commemorative certificate suitable for framing. You'll have to fight over whose office it gets in. And a check as the other symbol of the award, which I'm sure can go to good use in your organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
All right. Thank you.
I think you're on next.
All right. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, members of Promoting Enduring Peace. Indeed, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for this great honor that you have bestowed upon me, upon my friend, Rabbi Asherman, and all our colleagues, members of Rabbis for Human Rights in Israel. We are proud and humbled to receive this prestigious award and to join this most outstanding list of distinguished people, past recipients of this award. Today's ceremony falls on a date which is very significant in both the civil calendar as well as the Jewish calendar. Today is May Day, a day that symbolizes solidarity with the workers and standing for their rights. But according to the Jewish calendar, today is also the eve of Yom HaShoah, the Remembrance Day, the annual memorial day for 6 million Jews who died during the Holocaust. I am a second generation. My father is a Holocaust survivor. His entire family was murdered in Auschwitz. So for me, particularly, this day is very significant, and to receive on this very day the Gandhi Peace Award makes it even more unique and moving. Being a second generation, what is the lesson that I, the son of a survivor, take from this tragic history? I think the most important lesson that we should all take from the Shoah may be summed up with the famous words of never again. However, the lesson of never again is twofold. Yes, firstly, there is the never again that says never again Jews will be led to slaughter without being able to defend themselves. Yes, this is true, and that is why I proudly served as a paratrooper in the Israeli Defense Forces and continued to serve until the age of 45 when I was released from my reserve duty. But there is another meaning for never again. Not a particular one, but rather a universal one, which is no less important and perhaps today even more important. And that is, never again will people, any people, suffer from persecution, oppression, humiliation, dehumanization, and denial of their basic rights. Friends, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting in any way that there is any comparison between the Shoah and the situation between Israelis and Palestinians in the Middle East. What I am suggesting, however, is that no one is immune against racism and xenophobia. And therefore, we need to be constantly on guard lest anyone, including ourselves, fall into the deadly trap of bigotry and hate. That is why Rabbi David Foreman, the one who really should have stand here today, decided back in 1988 to establish the Rabbinic Human Rights Watch, later known as Rabbis for Human Rights. Unfortunately, David passed away exactly 1 year ago, and so it is me, a co-founder of our organization and its first executive director, who humbly stand before you today. Let me say a few words about the early days of Rabbis for Human Rights. 1988, the year Rabbis for Human Rights was founded, was the year of the first Intifada, the Palestinian uprising in the territories. For me personally, it was a very significant year in my life. It was the year I was ordained as a rabbi. But in addition, it was the year that I was called for nearly 60 days of reserve duty in the refugee camp in Khan Yunis, in the Gaza Strip. And for me, it was an eye-opening experience. It was the first time that I saw from close the life conditions in the refugee camps in the Gaza Strip. During my regular service as a paratrooper, I had many opportunities to be in the occupied territories, in the West Bank and in Gaza Strip, but it was always on the main roads. Only during the first Intifada, when we had to chase after little children throwing stones at us into the narrow alleys of the refugee camps and into their homes, that I received a new perspective. While upon my return back to my home, I felt that I need to do something as a Jew, as a rabbi, to try to change things, to show the concern for human rights and to the sanctity of human life from a religious Jewish perspective. 1988 was also a year of a big controversy over the validity of non-Orthodox conversions in Israel. I, as a conservative rabbi, Rabbi David Foreman is a Reform rabbi, and some of our Orthodox colleagues, Rabbi David Rosen, Rabbi Max Warszawski of blessed memory, we all had vested interest in this topic. Yet we all agreed that there is even more important question at stake. And that is not who is a Jew, but rather what is a Jew and how therefore is a Jew to behave. Yesterday we read in the synagogue the weekly Torah portion from Leviticus 19. Kedoshim, Kedoshim to you, you shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. In this Torah portion, in this biblical chapter, we find the famous words, love your neighbor as yourself. But not only that, we also read there, and if a stranger sojourns with you in your land, you shall not wrong him. But the stranger who dwells with you shall be to you as one born among you, and you shall love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Time and again, the Torah reminds us not to wrong the strangers, not to oppress them. You know the soul of the strangers, says the Torah, being yourselves strangers in the land of Egypt. We, who suffered for 2,000 years from persecutions and humiliation and oppression, should be sensitive more than anyone else to the suffering of others. What is the essence of Judaism? When Hillel the Elder, in the first century Common Era, was asked to sum up the Jewish teaching while standing on one foot In a nutshell, he said, what is hateful to you, do not do unto others. Or to put it in a positive way, treat others the way you would like to be treated by them. This is the message of Rabbis for Human Rights. Every human being is created in God's image, and we must respect that image and try to see God in the face of our neighbor, in the face of the other. How shall we promote an enduring peace? By seeing all of us as members of one family, as children of one Father, to see every human being as a brother or sister. By walking in the footsteps of our common father Abraham, who was the model for justice and righteousness and the pursuit of peace. The book of Genesis tells us there was a strife between the herdsmen of Abraham's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle. And Abraham said to his nephew Lot, let there be no strife between me and you, and between my herdmen and your herdmen, for we are brothers. Isn't the whole land before you? Please separate yourself from me. If you go to the left hand, then I will go to the right, or if you go to the right hand, then I will go to the left. Two conflicting values are found here. One, the love of the land that was promised to Abraham, not to Lot, on the one hand, and the pursuit of peace on the other hand. For the sake of peace, Abraham is willing to give up parts of the land that was given and promised to him and to his seeds. Before I introduce to you my friend and colleague, Rabbi Asherman, let me conclude with a wonderful poem by the late Israeli poet Yehuda Amichai called Tourists. Once I sat on the step by a gate at David's tower. I placed my 2 heavy baskets at my side. A group of tourists was standing around their guide, and I became their target marker. You see that man with the basket? Just right of his head, there's an arch from the Roman period. Just right off his head. Oh, but he's moving, he's moving. I said to myself, redemption will come only if their guide tells them, you see that arch from the Roman period? It's not important. But next to it, left and down a bit, there sits a man who's bought fruit and vegetables for his family. I pray for the day when we all come to recognize that the man who brought fruit and vegetables is more important than Roman arches, that human lives are more important than marble and stone, shrines and temples, that Adam, a human being, is more important than Adama, land. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. On that day, the Lord shall be one and his name one.